Hey everybody, it's P.Mok from 86DRIVE. Now, I know I haven't been making any YouTube videos or website videos in quite some time, and I thought that with everything that's been going on with the COVID-19 pandemic and the fact that we are staying at home a lot more lately, I figured I would take this opportunity to create some more content. And one of the topics I figured would be a natural first one would be to go over our car, the 86DRIVE BRZ. I'd like to spend a little bit of time showing you guys what's going on with the ride and what we've done to it so far. We bought the BRZ primarily as a weekend car. It is our track day race car, and it's also our weekend canyon cruiser, and so we've sort of built that car with multiple purposes in mind, but really the main purpose is to be a fun car to drive, something that we can enjoy on the weekends. Well, without further ado, let's take a look at the car. Okay, so let's do a quick walk around here. This is a 2016 Subaru BRZ. I bought it brand new from the Subaru dealership back in December of 2015. And after getting through the break-in miles, I went ahead and had the Jackson Racing Supercharger installed, which we'll see in a second. Let's take a walk to the front of the car here. While we're walking up there, you can see this is a nice black hood, but despite its appearance, it is not a carbon fiber hood. It is in fact a OEM Subaru aluminum hood. I picked up a spare one to cut up and install these track spec hood vents, which are actually needed in order to provide sufficient airflow and cooling to the engine. And I think you'll see that the real centerpiece of this engine bay is going to be the Jackson Racing Supercharger kit. I've got the basic Jackson Racing Supercharger with the Rotrex C30 compressor, and running at the standard boost level of about 7 to 9 psi. The car made about 242, 243 wheel horsepower, I believe. I'll have to go back and look at that. So pretty good. I believe on the same dyno, a completely stock BRZ would make about 140 wheel horsepower. And so I know that doesn't sound like much, but you compare the two, the difference in numbers between a stock BRZ and what this one put on the same dyno, and you can see it's about a gain of about 100 wheel horsepower. So I'd say that's pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with that amount of power. You can see right there the Rotrex C30 compressor that the Jackson Racing Supercharger kit is based off of. Otherwise, things are pretty standard here. You got the Grim Speed strut tower brace. I've got radium catch cans, 2 of them. There's one over here mounted by the battery, and the other one is mounted in a custom location. Thanks to Elite Performance, what they decided to do was to go ahead and mount that over there to one of the OEM strut braces, so that they could go ahead and mount the Jackson Racing's own supercharger fluid reservoir over here in its recommended location. You might have noticed I've got the standard OEM taillights installed on the car. However, these have been painted candy apple red all the way around, so that to me, I think it offers a cleaner, sort of more upscale look to it than the original clear taillights. I don't know, it's a personal preference thing, but I like the look of red all around the taillights a little bit better. Guess I should also talk a little bit about this ducktail spoiler that I have on the car. This is a 5-axis ducktail spoiler. And a little backstory on this one is that this is actually a part off of my first BRZ. I originally had a 2013 Subaru BRZ that I was using for exactly the same purpose. It was my track car and weekend car, and unfortunately had a little mishap and crashed the 2013 car. I ended up buying a new car, a 2016 BRZ. Thought about other cars, but ultimately decided to stick with the Subaru BRZ because I liked it so much. Not to mention that I had the Jackson Racing Supercharger on the way. So I ended up pulling this ducktail spoiler off of the first car and putting it on the new car. And what you might notice here is there's a slight color difference there. Might be a little hard to see on the camera, but in person you'll definitely be able to see it. And the reason for that is, of course, that the 2013 through 2014 model, maybe 2015, I think, had one type of World Rally Blue paint. And then, actually, I can't remember off the top of my head if it was in 2015 or 2016 that they changed the paint to a different paint code. It's still called World Rally Blue, but as you can see, hopefully from this video, the newer World Rally Blue is actually a little bit darker than the original World Rally Blue paint. And because I am A, cheap, and B, wanted to sort of remember the first car in a way, I decided to not repaint the spoiler. I just went ahead and stuck it on the new car without repainting it. But I think it's a subtle difference. You don't really see it too much, and it doesn't bother me. It might bother some people that are really OCD, but I'm okay with it, especially because, like I said, it's an homage of sorts to the first car that I had. Now, as I said, I am pretty much running the basic Jackson Racing Supercharger kit. No upgraded boost pulleys, no increased boost of any sort. Also running just plain old 91 octane fuel here in California. Not running E85 or anything like that. Back when I did have the car in NA form, I was running E85 to make a little bit more power. But once I got the supercharger kit installed, I didn't really feel like I needed additional power anymore, combined with the fact that it's a hassle to find and keep E85 fuel handy when driving around the Bay Area, and also hauling it up to the racetrack. You might notice that the car is on stock suspension. It's basically running on OEM dampers with some P.Mok lowering springs installed right now. It's kind of in a street mode during the summer because I haven't been running 86 Drive Challenge track day events. So I decided to go back to a more streetable setup. Over here you can see the wheels and tires. Tires, I'm running the GT Radial SX2s, which are a very popular tire for the 86 Drive Challenge series. It's essentially like a spec tire that we run, 200 tread wear. Very good tire, and GT Radial is a great company, very supportive of our race series, and so check them out. And holding these GT Radial tires, I have Wed Sports. These are Wed Sport TC105N wheels. These are great wheels, very lightweight for what they are. They are cast wheels, but using some advanced technology from Wed Sport that allows them to be essentially as lightweight as some forged wheels. And you'll see these kinds of wheels on a lot of track cars. I know several other people that have these on their cars, and everybody seems to love them. I've been really happy with these wheels. In fact, I have a set of these on my MR2 as well. You might be a little surprised to see that despite the fact that I use this car for a lot of track days, I'm still running the stock brake calipers. Haven't put a large or big brake kit on it yet. I've been just running high performance brake pads. Usually I run the Project Moo Advance brake pads, which I get from Elite Performance. They are some really nice brake pads, work really well for the track, hold up to the extreme heat situations that you would be dealing with at racetracks like Laguna Seca. Over here you can see my collection of brake pads. As I mentioned, I run the Project Moo Club Racer Advance racing brake pads when I'm at the track. But this summer, while I'm not on the track so much, I've switched back over to the Stop Tech street pads, which I think are a great performance street pad. Really good for canyon runs and everyday driving. Plus the advantage of not having extremely squeaky brakes, which unfortunately you do have to deal with when you have racing pads like the Project Moos. Just another little minor detail here. I'm running the Grimspeed Master Brake Cylinder Brace, the MCB. Helps firm up the brake feel on the brake pedal. I really like it. Now over here I've got the Teen SRC suspension off the car. I was running that when I was regularly racing between the 2016 and 2019 seasons of 86 Drive Challenge. But they are currently off the car, as you can see. Switched over to a softer suspension for a little bit more daily driving and canyon carving purpose, just a little more comfort. Unfortunately, these Teen SRCs, while they're great on the track, they're very stiff. It's a 10K, 12K spring rate, front and back, and so that makes for a very harsh ride if you're trying to drive around on normal roads. And especially around here, it seems like the road conditions not that great, so comfort was a big issue when driving around frequently on this kind of suspension. It's just really stiff and harsh, which makes for a great racing damper and coilover system, but you know, when you're not on the track, you kind of regret every moment that you're riding along. on these. Now over here underneath the engine, you can see I've got these Tomei unequal length headers installed. These are ceramic coated to keep the heat in. These have done really well for making a little bit more power on the car, and they give a nice sound to the engine and exhaust. In the back of the car, you can see I've got an aftermarket exhaust. This is the Greddy SP Elite catback muffler system. It's one of the quieter exhausts, which works out because I've got the aftermarket headers installed on the front. And those make quite a bit of noise. So I think it balances that out by having a quieter exhaust at the back end, and will hopefully let me pass sound at places like Laguna Seca, where the sound restrictions are quite harsh, quite strict. Over here, some more spare parts. This is a spare catless front pipe. I was going to run this for the 2020 race season before the whole COVID-19 pandemic hit. What this would do is completely remove all of the cats from the exhaust system, and that was the last piece I think that I'm missing to replace the entire exhaust system. And one of the side benefits of this would be that with the supercharger installed, hopefully I would get to see some flames shoot out of the exhaust due to the tune for the supercharger. But so far I haven't installed this yet because at least for me personally, the 2020 racing season got kind of put on hold. So inside the car, not a whole lot has been changed. Pretty much stock interior, left everything alone other than this shift knob. I have a racing shift knob, which is great. It's the Spherology with the custom engraving with 6-speed shift pattern on it. So nicely weighted, gives a great shift feel to the car. Really like this shift knob, very high quality stuff. Other than that, not much different about the interior other than I guess this is one of the cooler interior features I've got is the P3 vent gauge. It goes in place of the standard AC and heating vent over here on the driver's side, and what it does is installs a multifunction gauge over here that can display all kinds of things like oil temperature, coolant temperature, boost, bunch of other things, exhaust gas temperature, air-fuel ratio, all the kind of things that you'd want to be monitoring if your car is boosted or if you're running at the racetrack. So you can keep an eye on things. So I find this really useful, and it plugs into your OBD2 plug right under the dash there, and it works great. Yeah, I really like it. Just wanted to take a moment and thank some folks. The Racers Line, like I mentioned before, great shop in Concord. Speed SF, organizers for track days, and one of the sponsors for 86DRIVE Challenge as well. And Elite Performance. Can't forget these guys. Gary and the crew at Elite have been fantastic, supporting me over the years, helping me with performance upgrades, maintenance, dyno tuning for my supercharger kit. They're the ones that installed the supercharger kit in the first place, so shout out to those guys. They've been great. Well guys, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed taking a tour of the 86DRIVE BRZ, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions or wanted to know more about something that maybe I didn't cover. any suggestions that you might have about future content, things you would like to see from my channel, please let me know. If you're interested in 86Drive merchandise, we have some stuff available on our online store. This is our 86Drive logo that is my own original design. So if you're interested in supporting us and wearing some of our gear, please check it out. Visit us at 86drive.com. You can see our online store where you can find t-shirts, hats, some other gear, and a couple other designs as well. So appreciate your support. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe this video if you would like to see more, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.